You're watching First Choice TV show on Ravel TV, and we welcome you once again to a brand new episode of First Choice TV show. And as always, with me, I have my worthy co-host, Mr. Dipender Lumba, and we have a very special guest. And who is she? Mr. Lumba is going to introduce her. Welcome, Mr. Lumba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nagra. So, as you have already told about our guest, and she is a well-known lady here working a lot of stuff in her, career, and basically she is well known as a social worker also, and she is organizing a lot of conferences and motivational sort of stuff. But now she is going to be known as for her work, which she is going to bring out very shortly, which you people will see. And this is a wonderful work she has performed in through her book. And this is about everybody is facing the problems like ID theft and about identification theft problems, which has become such a big headache from last 10 years basically. You have frauds through credit cards, you have frauds through your SIM card, you have frauds through many things, like even your titles are sold in the house because you are in real estate. You must be coming across this sort of stuff. Even the houses are sold through the fraud, this thing. So she is going to expose, she has done her research and all. So first of all, I should introduce her. She is Jan Ojar-Ali, and she is from West Indies, and she will give her own introduction. I think so that would be better. Give us your background and your country and since how much your years you are settled here. So welcome to the show, First Choice TV show on Ravel TV, Ojar.
Thank you, Mr. Lumba and Mr. Nagra.
Welcome.
Actually, I was born in Trinidad. We'll tell you how long ago. And after when I was 18, I moved here as well. Married with 3 kids. I live in Scarborough. And I was actually working at the bank for 18 years. And 2 years ago, I decided that there was another way I had to expose what was happening in the fraud industry.
Okay.
So that's what I decided to do. So I decided to resign. And this summer, I wrote my book. It's called Mrs. Fraud and You. Will you be the victim of victim when she comes knocking? Which I'm very proud of.
Great. Mrs. Fraud and You. As its name is so catchy, and I can say that whatever you have written with your experience, since you are from banking sector and you worked so long in that, what this book is basically about, Mrs. Fraud and You.
Well, Mrs. Fraud and You, the title came about in a very strange way. It should have been Mr. Fraud, but that's a Bollywood movie.
Yeah.
So it changed to be Mrs. Fraud, and then I decided, being a woman writing it, it sort of made sense.
It's an appropriate title.
It sort of made sense, absolutely. So the book is really a simple ABC version that anyone can read.
Okay.
There is, just to be the information, the intro to fraud, types of frauds. There is a quiz in there, the tricks of the trade. I even did a word search in there as well. And it's just really for people to open their minds and wake up. That's basically what it is. There are a lot of books out there. There's a lot of research out there. But I wanted to be a book which maybe about close to 100 pages that someone can keep it and read it at their fingertips.
Very good.
And hopefully they will ask some questions as needed.
Okay, Diane, basically the problem, like in the introduction, what I tried to give a brief about this frauds. So, can you explain before we go for the details of the book with you and other details, that what sort of frauds are now happening in the market and how they are happening, and how the police is concerned, how the administration is concerned about it?
Well, the main types of fraud, as we know, is the driver's license, social insurance, character criminal. We have synthetic fraud, which is pretty much taking someone's date of birth with somebody else's SIN number and so forth and put it together.
Okay.
Medical fraud is huge
Right.
as well, but one of the big concerns we have right now is electronic pickpocketing. Which
What is that?
No, electronic pickpocketing, basically in the States, it's huge. It's a company that had exposed it where someone can actually pass by with a scanner and scan your wallet. Because if you notice now,
Oh, really? That's very amazing. I mean, it's
Yeah.
okay.
yes, I actually got my renewal for my credit card a couple months ago.
Oh, boy.
And you know the gas station has like an easy pass
Yeah.
away, but it's on the credit cards now.
Yep.
And in the States, you can choose not to go with that option. Unfortunately, that was the case a couple months ago. My
Okay.
credit card company told me that. Now they said, no, it's mandatory.
Oh, okay.
So what has happened is, I have it. There is a sleeve, an alloy sleeve you can use to protect it. But it's here to stay, and it's becoming a big problem, slowly but surely. But people don't seem to know much about it, and that's something I focus on the book about too as well.
Okay.
And we also have the regular, investment fraud, child
Okay.
support fraud, insurance fraud, and those are typical.
Okay.
But the main concerns are right now mortgage fraud, which is a
Okay.
character criminal, and people are misguided by thinking fraud is really about credit cards, the bank.
Only credit card.
Yeah.
That's what people. I mean, that's a common kind of. Notion among the people that it's only through financial institutions or financial information is stolen.
So
But-
then,
yeah.
basically, Mr. Nagar, also I just want to ask, like you have named so many of frauds, like mortgage fraud, credit card fraud, maybe the bank card fraud, then like you have said, electronic pickpocketing or other. Can you explain bit details what is mortgage fraud and how does it happen, and the other frauds also, so that people should come to know that how they can escape themselves from these sort of frauds.
Well, let's take mortgage fraud, which is very common. And the reason being too as well is a lot of people don't realize how common it is. For
Right.
example, I have a girlfriend who lives in Toronto,
Okay.
and she was sued by one of the banks along with other people, saying that she bought a house in another city, which she's never been to. And fortunately for her, we do have a membership that she does have a service that she uses, and they were able to
Okay.
help her with that.
Okay.
Now, in terms of, for example, last week I got phishing emails a couple times, supposedly from the bank, but I know better, it's not from the bank. And I actually do have a copy of it in my book as well, which is very common. And today I was speaking to my sister-in-law, who actually, one of her email accounts was actually
Hacked.
compromised
Okay.
as well. I mean, we can go through, we can talk for hours about different types of frauds, but
Okay.
the most common ones are like the compromise in the banks.
Okay.
People think the bank will, and they do give you back your money, but they have to investigate it as well.
True.
The ones I have a problem with, like my daughter, she has O negative blood,
Okay.
and that's the medical fraud. Now, just imagine,
How?
I'm a parent.
Okay.
And if something happens to my kid that I don't live in this country, because we do have OHIP, which we do
Yep.
pay for our
Yep.
taxes, you would think twice sometimes. Not to say I will, but I'm just saying you don't think about when there is a situation arises.
All right.
And there's a possibility, so we do know it does happen, because with her negative blood, if somebody gets a hold of her OHIP number, she can
Okay.
die instantly. Somebody has AIDS or
Okay.
something, she can die on the spot.
Right.
There are cases where we have social insurance fraud. And we have known cases where people work on other people's social insurance. And there was one lady who was like 38 jobs in her name. And the sad part is people don't realize that the Revenue Canada, they don't usually will not give you a replacement social insurance card. You're still responsible for all the income you have to declare on the first one.
True.
So I mean, like I said, we can go on and on. Again, if a driver's license, if someone has my driver's license, would you drive better than me?
No.
Exactly.
Okay. Jan, the other thing, like, what are the measures that one should be careful about these frauds, and they should not come into their way and all that stuff? What do you see? Like, people should take steps to avoid this
These kind of
possibilities.
But the number one thing is, I do believe that you really should research and get a service that will help restore back your credit and help and work with you. And the reason for that, there's a lot of companies out there will do credit monitoring for you. However, they will not restore back, because it is a nightmare. It's a nightmare to actually restore back your name to where it was, and you have to prove that you are innocent. The other thing is, call your credit bureau companies and put alerts on there.
Okay.
You know, take action. Ask the question, which I believe is the most important thing. Just
Right.
ask the questions. Just be careful with your statement. In the book, there is a questionnaire, answers, quizzes that will help open your mind and say, maybe I can resonate with that.
I understand. I mean, because there is, as you just mentioned, that unlimited number of frauds, scams, and cheatings and tricks, etc., which are very prevalent these days because of internet, because of cyber is available all around, and our information is stored somewhere there on certain websites as well. So be very careful, and before doing anything, do your due diligence, especially when it comes to your identity. So we'll be discussing more about other kind of frauds and to safeguard yourself from these frauds in a moment, but after a short break.